Hello everyone, welcome to the Keshara Wickramasinghe YouTube channel. All right, so today I'm going to teach you the lesson 3 in our A320 type training practice lesson series, right? So in before you learn in the before two, I mean previous two videos, you learn about aircraft dimension, aircraft drainage points, and surface pretreatments, painting, jacking points. These topics we discussed in video 1. So if you want to see this video, you can click on the card appear on the screen. And the second video, structural breakdown and zoning, ground handling, and avionic compartment presentations and cockpit presentations. So we discussed these 4 points in video number 2. So you can check out this video through this through this card, right? Okay, so today I'm going to teach you this lesson 3 regarding this series, aircraft general. Okay, so now no need to wait a lot, so let's go to the video. Right, so this is the lesson 3, aircraft general. So this is Airbus 320 type training practice lesson series, right? So if you want to see the first practice lesson 1, practice lesson 2, you can see the previous videos I did, right? All right, so let's go to the aircraft general lesson 3. So you will study the following in this lesson, right? 3.1 Cockpit Philosophy, and 3.2 Electrostatic Discharge, and 3.3 Computer Installation. So let's go to the first lesson, 3.1 Cockpit Philosophy. See, you can see this the cockpit of 320, almost 320, 321, and 319 almost are same, right? So this will teach you 2 crew concepts, light out philosophy and light and push button philosophy, right? So you can see this panel. All the aircraft and system controls are arranged to be within easy reach of the 2 crew members. The concentration of system controls on the overhead panel is achieved through the extensive usage of LED push buttons installed directly on system synoptic panels, right? So in normal operations, no light are illuminated in the cockpit. This is called the light out philosophy, right? All right. So you can see these 2 pictures. So when possible, status and failure indicators are integrated into the relevant illuminated push button, which must be pressed to initiate corrective action, right? So you can see here, pressed in, no light, system activated, correct operation. So it means in this push button we pressed in, it means the system is activated correctly, so there's no fault, so then no light is there. And pressed in, fault light is on, system activated, faulty condition. It means if we pressed in this button, but if there's a fault, then the fault light is illuminated. And then next one, release out, off light on, and system deactivated. In this situation, this button is release out, and because of the release out, the system is deactivated, and because of that, the off light is on. So you can see this is the real push buttons in the overhead panel, right? Most of the illuminated push buttons of the 2 stable positions pressed in and release out, each position correspond to the control signal sent to the system. Pressed in, normally use system activation auto and on, temporary use system activation on, system activated for maintenance operations on, and or override, right? So some push buttons have only one stable position, release out, right? When pushed, they send a control signal to the system. Some push buttons only have one stable position, right? So it only a release out. So when push, they send a control signal to the system. So when release out or flush with the panel, system deactivated, it means system off, or manual activation of a system, or else on, or activation of an alternative system. When a part of the push button is not used, it means if you not use a part of the push button, it is identified by 2 dots. All right, so you can see these 2 dots and indication lights, right? The indicator lights that can be seen on the screen are not push buttons. These are not push buttons, right? The bottom section is not dedicated to a control, and the lights are not surrounded by lighted border. These lights are not surrounded by the lighted border, right? Okay, you can see the illuminated push buttons are annunciator lights are in different color according to its function, right? It means illuminated push buttons and annunciator lights are in different color regarding the function, right? So in normal operation, only green lights and sometimes blue lights are illuminated. So we can go through this picture, see red lights here, amber color here, or white color here, or the green color here, and blue color here. So you can see what is red color. So red is used for a failure needed immediate action. If something happen, so if you need to take an immediate action, so this indication shows by the red color. And for the amber, amber is used for a failure needed awareness, but no immediate action, right? And from the white color, you can see white is used to indicate a push button in an abnormal position. A maintenance operations and override mode selected or a manual mode selected, right? So the green color, green is used to indicate normal operations of a backup system, right? And the blue light, you can say, normally we can say cyan. So blue is used to indicate normal operation of a temporary use system, right? Temporary use systems, it means blue is used to indicate normal operation of a temporary use system, right? All right, so now let's go to the 3.2 electrostatic discharge, right? This is also very important if you are work with the avionic section. In this section, you will get an idea about the electrostatic problems and the precautions has to take for these problems, right? Okay, you can see here, this man from the electrostatics is go to the line replacement unit and to the ground. So EST stand for electrostatic discharge, which is generated by rubbing materials with each other by moving over plastic material. Wearing synthetic fiber clothing, electrical charge build up on the body, right? So this voltages of 12,000 to 35,000 volts can be developed on a person. So touching connector pins of a computer units, a discharge path is formed through wiring and components. Integrated circuit, IC chips can be partly damaged or totally destroyed. It means because of the static discharge, it means static discharge from our body, the integrated circuit chips can be partially damaged or totally damaged. So it is a big problem, right? So if there's a partially damaged chip, so we have to invest in the company have to invest. So you have to be very careful when you work with line replacement units. So especially for the avionics section, right? So this is triboelectric series. So the so-called triboelectric series of materials are shown here. Rubbing materials from this series against each other and then separating them from each other causes buildup of electrostatic charges. If the materials are from apart in this series, there will be a higher electric charge, right? So you can see triboelectric series, see hair, human hair, asbestos, rabbit fur, glass. You can go through here, the positive charges or from here, human hair, you can have positive charge, right? So the negative charge, steel, wood, amber, sealing way, hard rubber. So you can go through, just take an idea and you can go through this picture. Right, so here are some precautions to avoid damage of electronic equipments by electrostatic discharge, right? So I will read one by one. So the first one, do not touch connector pins, avoid using flying leads or pins for testing, right? So the next one, the establish good ground as for the fueling if a unit has to be serviced, and put yourself to ground, either discharge yourself on the metallic structure or connect yourself to ground via where to 200,000 to 1 million ohms or a wristband with the lead or connector, lead and connector. So normally when we work with the avionics compartment, avionic items, it means avionic line replacement units, we are using wristband, right, to avoid the static discharge, right? Static energy is happening in our body, right? So the wrap up the unit in conductive plastic foil or use a conductive black bag. Protect the unit by placing protective caps on the computer connectors, and place the unserviceable unit in its reusable shipping containers, right? When replacing the line replacement unit, we need to follow up the above precautions, right? It means if you are going to replace a line replacement unit, you need to follow up these precautions. First, discharge your own body electricity by touching the metallic surface structure or by using a ground wristband. Cover connectors with protective dust caps on the remote line replacement units and do not touch any pins, right? So in addition, the remote line replacement units can be covered with conductive plastic wrap, and do not use ordinary plastic wraps, right? Okay, so next one, when testing or installing line replacement units, we need to follow up the following, the above precautions, right? So the first, discharge your own body electricity by touching the metallic aircraft structure or by using a grounded wristband. Same thing happen, same thing like before page. And when connecting test equipment, first establish the ground connection and do not use low impedance multimeters or dielectric testers, right? Okay, so the removal and testing of the printed circuit board from a line replacement unit bearing this label is carried out as follows, right? So the line replacement unit can only be opened at ESD controlled workstations where the bench surface is grounded. So the bench must be grounded in the when we do something in the printed circuit board. So the bench must be grounded, and the technicians has to wear a ground wristband. All test equipments and tools are grounded, and remove printed circuit boards are stored and shipped in conductive plastic bags or conductive plastic wraps. All right, so this is the end of electrostatic discharge. And now let's go to the 3.3 computer installations, right? So I will teach you step by step how to install a computer in avionic compartment, right? So here is the computer. So we are going to remove this one. So before starting a computer removal and installation procedure, the aircraft has to be set up in the maintenance configurations, right? So before we are going to remove and install the computer, we have to keep the aircraft. We have to keep the aircraft for a maintenance configurations, right? Because sometimes the aircraft in the flight configuration, so we have to make it for, we have to prepare it for a setup for a maintenance configuration. So now next one, the first task is to make sure that the ground service network is energized and access doors is open and accessible, right? All right, so the next one here is the circuit breakers. So I showed already through the last lesson the circuit breakers panels, right? So in the overhead panel also there are circuit breakers, right? And then make sure that the circuit breaker listed in the removal of the computer procedure of the AMM is open, right? It means in the AMM example, if you're going to do some work like this removal or installation work, so everything's in the aircraft maintenance manual. So we have to refer the AMM, it means aircraft maintenance manual, and we have to refer point by point. So in the AMM, they mention what circuit breakers do we have to open to remove line replacement unit, right? So you have to remove the you have to open, right? Not remove, you have to open the circuit breakers according to the AMM. So in this picture you can see how they open these circuit breakers, just to take it out, right? And next one, see, the first action is to loosen the nut and then lower the nut. So right, you can see this, there are two nuts in the this one in the computer. So line replacement in the computer. So we have to loosen these two nuts and we have to make it down, right? We have to make it down to release, right? So when the nut is lowered, pull the computer on its racks to disconnect electrical connector and remove the computer from its rack. So after we remove these two nuts, so we have to pull it. We have to pull this computer on its racks to disconnect electrical connectors and remove the computer from its racks, because the electrical connectors are connected in the back side of this computer, right? So before starting, now we are going to the installations procedure, right? So before starting the computer installations procedure, clean and do a visual inspection of the component interface and of the adjacent area, right? This is very important things, right? Before you install, you have to clean the area, and also you have to do a visual inspections, because maybe some small pins will be damaged, or some some kind of unusual things inside the compartment. So we have to do a visual inspections, and we have to clean, right? And we have to make it clean and clear, right? First task is to remove the blanking caps from the electrical connectors and make sure that the electrical connectors are clean and in the correct condition. So the next, so before we going to install, so first we did what is the task we did first. So we have to see do a visual inspection and clean the area, and then we have to remove the blanking caps from the electrical connectors and make sure that electrical connectors are clean and in the correct condition, right? So now, then you can see this picture. Then install the computer on its racks and push it on its rack to connect the electrical connectors, right? So do you remember I told you before, when you want to remove the computer, first we have to pull it, right? Why we have to pull it? Why? To remove from the electrical connection. And now when we installing, we have to connect the electrical connector to the computer. So to connect, we have to push it, right? So next one, now you can engage the nut from the start and tighten them. So now the next step is you have to install these two nuts and tighten them, right? Now the installation is finished, right? So that is very easy, right? So then close the circuit breakers, and as in the first, we remove, we open the circuit breakers, then you have to close the circuit breakers that you opened before removal. And the last action of the computer installation is to do a test through the MCDU and to close the access panel. Right, MCDU, I teach you center pedestal panel, they have an MCDU. So we have to do a test using MCDU, and also make sure the work area is clean and clear if tools and other items, and then close the access doors and remove the access flag. So that is the procedure to remove and install the computer in the aircraft. All right, so that is the end of today's lesson. So we learned today we learned about cockpit philosophy, electrostatic discharge, and computer installation. So hope you got a good idea about these three lessons. So I want to tell this one. This is the third lesson of this series. I mean aircraft general. So I will going to do one more lesson. So then the aircraft lesson series is finished, and then I will make some questions regarding these lessons, and I will make a video regarding the questions, so you can go through the questions. So thank you for joining today lesson, and I hope you got a good knowledge about this series. And please share this video for your friends and for your relatives or anyone's, because this video may be very important for your knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe this channel, and don't forget to share, and don't forget to make a like. And if you have any comment, please comment below, and I will answer for you as soon as possible. So okay, so that's all for today, and we will meet on next lesson. Have a good day for all of you.